Generally, when you add an effect onto a layer in After Effects, the effect is applied to the entire layer. But what if you want the effect to only apply to a section of that layer? Well, here in this movie, we'll see how we can limit a layer effect using masks. So typically when we use masks, we can select the layer and cut out a certain section, and you'll see that everything that's inside the mask is what's revealed. Everything outside of that mask gets cut out. We can actually use this power to apply this to effects instead. So let's go ahead and turn that off, and maybe for this piece of footage, I've got inside the printing press these machines that are spinning. The client's requested that maybe this orange is much too dark. It needs to be tweaked out a little bit. So we can do a little bit of color correction in here. Let's go ahead and select our layer, and under the effects and presets, let's just type in hue and saturation, or just hue. Here we go. Click and drag this over to our layer. And from here, let's go ahead and make our change. Let's make it something drastic so we can see this. And as we do this, you'll notice that not only does it change this part, but it also changes out this part over here as well. We want to limit the effect of that hue and saturation effect. So let's go ahead and use our mask tools to do this. Let's go ahead and bring this down to about 25%. And what I'm going to do is, with my pen tool selected, just make sure that my layer is enabled as well. And I'll just click and drag to start creating this mask roughly. We'll click and drag this for some Bezier handles, come down here, come over here, and another set of Bezier handles here. Now you'll notice that it does cut off just like a regular mask would, but in order to use this to affect the hue and saturation effect, let's go down to Effects, Hue and Saturation, and if you go all the way down to the bottom here, you'll see that there's a Compositing Options parameter. And what we can do is hit this plus sign, and that is going to create this mask reference. And so in this drop-down menu, if you have more than one mask, you can select it from here. Since we only have mask 1, let's go ahead and select that. And instantaneously, you'll see that the effect of our hue and saturation is only limited to what's inside our mask. So as we make these changes, we can dial this to be whatever color we like, and it does not affect all this area back here. So as we're doing it, we notice that we want to keep maybe this center part, the original portion as well. So let's go ahead and mask that out too. So I'm going to zoom in about 100%, and with our mask tool and our layer selected, let's go ahead and draw this out. Click and drag for some Bezier handles. I'll do that again over here. Click here, Bezier handles, down in here somewhere. Oops, maybe over here. There we go. And we'll close it out. Okay. And it's getting cut off again because we're just now using this as a traditional mask. But instead, we want to have this subtracted from our first mask. And so now we have this cutout, which doesn't look too good. All we have to do now is just go down to our hue and saturation effect and come down to our compositing options and add another mask reference to reference mask 2. Let's go ahead and call this, oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to our composition window. Let's click on our mask 2, and hitting return, we can relabel this inside. And the first mask we'll call outside. Okay, so now we have this mask reference for inside and outside. And when we play that back, we see that this hue and saturation effect is only affecting the outside. And of course, we can tweak this and just make this feathering maybe about to 4. And the mask expansion, let's contract it a little bit. We'll shrink it, maybe make that -4. And that way we can just limit that just a tiny bit. So you can use this for any other effect that you want, maybe like mosaic or something, just so we can see kind of its blocky effect. And it's blocky effect on the entire picture. So let's go ahead and now come down to our effects. And under mosaic, we'll do the same thing. We'll add the option of inside and outside. And notice that the mosaic is now just affecting everything that's inside of our masked area. And we're doing this all inside of one layer. And this is really the power of reusing these masks inside of After Effects to limit the effect of whatever effect we added on here. So here we saw that we can restrict an effect's results on a layer through use of masks. The power of reusing the same mask for several effects makes for a more efficient workflow.